Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we do have some cruise news today as one cruise line seems to be trying to get other cruise lines not to be able to sail in their area. And there's a pretty obvious reason why. We also have Carnival Cruise Line coming out and saying, you know what, we have to reschedule a dry dock on two different ships, which means more canceled cruises. I'll tell you if there's any compensation coming for those. We have the new Texas cruise terminal is right on par and right on pace to be opening up this winter, which is really good news for there as they need the space as they've been growing. They need more docking space there as well. And Carnival is bringing back something much loved in the Australian waters. If you have an Australian cruise coming up in July, you're probably going to really like this notice. So first off, Hurtigruten Cruise Line is calling for a new policy on cruise ships, specifically larger cruise ships. And they are saying that the larger cruise ships are interfering with the passageway. It's a hard thing on in Norwegian waters. It's bad for the environment, and there needs to be a lot of restrictions on the large cruise ships. And Norway recently just brought out, they were supposed to have this new environmental policy for cruise lines and everything, and they postponed it later, many years later, to allow the cruise lines to catch up and get their engines and their scrubbing systems all up to par for what Norwegian is looking for. And now we have Hurtigruten saying, you know what, we really need to cut back on the larger cruise ships coming into Norway. And then they start touting their cruise line, saying, hey, we go to 34 different ports. Not only do we take foreign visitors, we take the majority of local visitors. We handle mail, we handle cargo, we handle everything here. And that's because a lot of their ships are the smallest ships in the world, shall we say. They're not a big cruise line. They have a lot of these ferry type ships that go back and forth. They carry a lot of locals. They have cargo. That's how they ship cargo back and forth, is using Hurtigruten's smaller ships because they go into smaller ports, etc. So it's very easy for Hurtigruten to come out and say, hey, we need to ban the larger cruise ships because they have no larger cruise ships. So that's kind of like self-preservation, I guess, right? And the one thing you kind of got to watch out for is you don't want to anger the big cruise lines, because the big cruise lines might just go, oh yeah? Let's start buying some of these smaller ships in there, and let's start cutting our rates into that country, and let's just see how long the other ones survive. If they got angry enough, if they get their ships kicked out of Norway and everything, and a lot of it's because of another cruise line, yeah, they can be vindictive as well, and they have more money. So we'll see what happens with this. It's not normal for another cruise line to call out the other cruise lines and saying, hey, we're really good, and you guys are bad. Let's have a policy. Not very happy with that situation. Next, we have Carnival Cruise Line, and they just sent out some passengers messages out saying, if you have the Carnival Horizon next year on this sailing, and if you have the Carnival Magic next year on these sailings, we have to reschedule them because they have changed their dry docking procedures, and they need to bring them in for certain timelines, which means over a month of cruises have been canceled and are being sent out notifications. Now, the good news is that if you want to move it to another comparable ship and sailing and cabin type, your price is protected. Plus, you'll get $50 onboard credit, up to $100 per cabin if there's 2 people in the cabin. Or you can get a full refund, which will be issued out by the end of the month. Yeah. So yeah, not great news. It's it's about a year away, less than a year away, and but things happen. The dry docks, the shipyards are very, very full. So they need to go in whenever they possibly can, and sometimes that schedule needs to be changed, and hopefully people affected can find another alternative ship to be able to sail on, and the price won't go up on them. That's the biggest fear for me, is prices on the rise and we end up having to pay more because they canceled our cruises. Next, let's talk about Texas. Texas is just about to open their brand new $156 million terminal in Galveston. And I love Galveston. I love staying there. I can't wait to sail out of there again. And they are going to have a brand new one ready by this winter, which will open up more spaces, and more larger cruise ships are able to dock there as well. So that's good news. It's going to be a multi-level area, very efficient, and they can really use some new terminals there, which is really, really good. They're growing, boy, in Galveston. They are growing left and right. Next, Carnival Cruise Line. Carnival Cruise Line is bringing back a tradition this year in Australia that a lot of people absolutely love. It's Grinchmas. In case you don't know what Grinchmas is, it's Grinchmas in July, which is, of course, the Grinch who stole Christmas, and they are going to be celebrating Christmas Grinchmas in Australia in July on multiple Carnival Cruise Line ships. So that's always fun for the kids. The kids seem to get a big kick out of this. They'll have those specialty meals that you can possibly, green eggs and ham, those sort of things that they'll offer, special breakfasts during those times. And it's the ships get all decorated out again, and it's just a fun thing for your family to do, something a little extra while you're out there on these ships, and that's a lot of fun for kids. I absolutely think that's great. Speaking of fun for kids, Disney Cruise Line has just floated out their biggest, largest cruise ship they've ever built, the Disney Adventure. And that makes it one step closer to getting ready for sea trials, which means it's one step closer to getting ready to sail. Now, this ship is heading to Asia for the majority of the market, and you can still book it, you can still go. Just keep in mind that it will be a very heavily Asian-themed cruise, shall we say, as they have way more passengers from the Asian market than the North American market, which means, of course, they have to gear the ship towards that audience. And you'll have like multiple languages doing announcements. There may be some things on board that are only in a particular language. You don't know exactly until they start sailing. I've been on an Asian cruise before where I was with Tony, and I think we were 76 North Americans and 3,800 people from China. So we were very outnumbered. We were actually like a focal point on the cruise ship where people, hey, look at those guys kind of thing. And it also really limited our shore excursions because more than almost 100 times more people were from the Asian, from China. So they had Chinese language excursions in Japan and only very limited English speaking tours on the ship. So you want to keep those kind of things in mind if you're heading to a destination like that. You may not have those shore excursions that you may be planning on unless you're, sailing kind of like a transatlantic from North America, or a trans-Pacific, I should say, going across the border. So there you go. Well, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of another cruise line kind of saying, hey, we got to cut out the other cruise lines. It's all about the big ships, everybody. It's not about our cruise line. It's about the big ships. Yeah, it's just the big ships. We're not picking on the cruise lines. We're not saying they're bad. It's just the big ships. Yeah, we don't have any, but, we should stop those other ships. Definitely. Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.